Hello, and as always, welcome to Inner Work for Greater Good. My name is Emily Eldridge. I am your host of Inner Work for Greater Good.tv, and where we talk about inner work that accelerates your power to be the most amazing presence you can possibly be, to really light up our world with your gifts and your unique light, because the world needs your light. It needs everyone's light, everyone's. So today the topic is what if, I love what if questions, by the way. What if questions can really spark us to think beyond, what we ever really considered before. And by the way, if you're hearing tip tap in the background, that's my parents' dog who's staying with us. She got a little shocked when I suddenly said, hello, we don't work for Greater Good. But what if, there she goes, she just laid down. She's bored already. What if you were being prepared for your purpose? So I especially wanted to concentrate on what if your struggles are preparing you for your purpose. I think this is a really, really important topic, because a lot of times when we're stuck in struggle, we really have blinders on, and understandably. I mean, when we're in pain or fear or stress or trauma or what have you, it's this is actually what emotions do. I think I even talked about this in a previous episode, where I talk about how actually the last episode, where actually when we're in extreme emotional states, it's almost like our left rational brain is kind of shut down. It can't really come online unless and until we've really alleviated and calmed down the emotions. So the point is that oftentimes in our lives, we can be in periods of struggle and stress and fear, and that can blind us to what could actually be the greater purpose for what we're going through. I know that I've been in those states a number of times in my life. In fact, somebody recently, I remembered I was having a dinner meeting with some friends of mine who are fellow change makers, and we're really working to make a difference in the world, as I'm sure you are too. And I was telling my friends about my story, and how basically that I've been in such a deep, dark state in my life back in 2009, and was deeply self-loathing, but that it forced me to actually face my own fears, to face the deeper, darker parts of me that I'd been hiding, or that I'd been, sort of denying. And what that did was then that led to my developing the drawing out process, which has since grown into the Change Light system, and then the work that I do. And now I've got a podcast and all kinds of fun stuff. But the point is, she said something to me as I was describing those struggles. She said, wow, it must be so gratifying to actually have your struggles, really to be able to help other people now because of those struggles. And I said, yes, it's deeply, deeply gratifying. And also it reminds me of a moment when I was really in such excruciating emotional pain that I actually yelled out. I was by myself, but I yelled out. And I said, there's no effing reason for anyone to be in this much pain. There is no possible purpose for this pain. I was so angry, and I was so hurt and in pain, that I thought, this is crazy. What is the point? And now, of course, I help other people who sometimes are in that depth of pain. And so because I've been in that depth of pain, I get it in a way that very few other people can get it. And I'm able to be present with them. And also it was because I faced that pain and I see the truth of that pain now, that I can now help others and guide others out of that darkness into their own light. So now I'm able to sit here on the other side of that pain and say, oh, I absolutely see the purpose of it. But when I was in the middle of it, absolutely not. No freaking way did I see that there was any reason for anyone on earth to experience that level of excruciating pain. So I just want to bring that up from my own experience to illustrate the fact that we can be in such struggle and pain that we think there's no possible reason for this. And there's no way we can even see that it could serve an ultimate purpose in our lives. But pain and struggle and stress, certain stressors, certain experiences really can end up serving an incredibly empowering purpose, or multiple empowering purposes in our lives. And so that's what I want you to look at today. And I look at this within myself as well. And I still sometimes go through dark periods where I'm just like, no. But then I always come out the other side and I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get it now. I didn't get it before, but I get it now. And so I just sort of spontaneously came up with this little exercise, not even a little exercise, it could be a very big exercise, but this exercise to help you look at how the struggles in your life have supported you in empowering you and really strengthening you and bringing forward wisdom or teaching you things that you may never have imagined at the time. And also a way that if you're in a certain struggle right now or pain or period of stress or anxiety or something right now, that maybe this will help you look at your current struggles in a more enlightened way, from a more enlightened perspective in terms of how might what you're going through right now be serving you? How might it actually be increasing your strength and expanding your wisdom, thus preparing you for your ultimate purpose, or even serving you in fulfilling your purpose? You may already feel like you're on path and on purpose in your life. Well, it could be that what you're going through now, just as what you've gone through in the past, could be serving you in being that presence that you desire to be and having that impact that you desire to have. I know without question that the struggles I've been through have absolutely no question, 100,000% empowered me and served me and wizened me to be able to do the work that I do and to be the presence that I am and that I desire to be. So really simple exercise, just give this a try. Make 3 columns, okay? 3 different columns. In the first column, maybe I should do it on this side. The first column, I'm not sure which is left or right for you, but in the first column, write down at the header, list some of your past struggles, okay? And maybe you just start with one past struggle. Maybe you've been through a divorce. Maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you were bullied in school. Maybe you have struggled with your health. Maybe you, anything, any kind of struggle that you've had. Write that down in that first column. Then in the second column, list the ways that struggle has actually made you wiser and stronger. List what you've learned from it, what it taught you, how you grew in different ways. I mean, I'm thinking right now, for me personally, I've had health issues. And even though, on one hand, like, yes, I've learned and I've grown in terms of how to take better care of my body, but also because I had those physical struggles, it actually forced me to go deeper emotionally. So I grew in my emotional wisdom and strength and depth. And I also learned other techniques as a result of having had that struggle, which I still use today. I've talked in the past about the work, Byron Katie's The Work. I use the work a lot in some of my emotional struggle and my periods of emotional struggle. And also, in some of my periods of physical struggle. And then also in periods of physical struggle, I ended up getting like insights and downloads, about that ended up supporting and that I use directly in my work today in the Change Light system. So that's the second column. Make a list of the ways in which that struggle made you wiser or stronger, in ways you may have never even expected, or maybe not even realized until you actually sat down and started to write this down. Okay. Third column, list how you use that wisdom, those strengths, those realizations, that the transformation you had because of that, the epiphanies, etc. List how you use those now today, whether it's in your work, in fulfilling your purpose, in your parenting, in your daily life. List the ways in which you changed for the better and for the stronger and the wiser as a result of that original struggle. Okay, so let's start with things that have happened to you in the past, because you're in a lot of struggle right now, but it's good to at least have some perspective and go, okay, I was in a really bad way back then, and I really couldn't see my way out, but you know what? Now I see actually how that really ultimately served me. So then you've got your list, your 3-column list for past struggles, and you can do that with any number of different struggles. Well, now let's look at today. What's a struggle that you're experiencing right now that you might be like, God, why am I going through this? infuriating and I'm so unhappy and I'm so upset, and I'm so angry, or I'm so sad, or I feel so weakened, or what have you. Look at a struggle that you're experiencing today and do the same, pretty much the same thing. I'll explain why I'm sort of hesitating on that. Ask, what are the ways in which this could be making you stronger? What are the things that you could be learning, right? You don't necessarily know the full picture yet because you're in the middle of it right now, but how might this ultimately end up serving you? Like in terms of what it's developing inside of you. I mean, perhaps it's developing, it's expanding your empathy, your ability to connect with and empathize with other people. Perhaps it's opening your eyes to issues that maybe you're having an issue in your marriage, let's say, and your ex actually opening your eyes to things that you may have never recognized before that need your attention. Maybe it is really forcing you, maybe it is some kind of health issue, and it's forcing you to really stop and really consider yourself and take care of you and this beautiful vehicle that you've been given, through which you are here to fulfill your purpose, and without which you can't really fulfill your purpose. So look at how your struggle that you're currently having might actually be wisening you and strengthening you and making you more prepared or more empowered to actually fulfill your life's mission, to light up. You may be in darkness, but what if this darkness is empowering you to shine even more light, ultimately, to shine even more light? And then that third column, of course, was, how it was for a past struggle, how do you use that wisdom and strength today? Well, consider how might you be able to use that going forward? Like if you have deeper empathy, if you're seeing more in terms of your relationship, if you are really learning to care for your body more, how could you end up using that in the future? Obviously, you're in the middle of it right now. You can't necessarily predict what's to come of this, and you can't necessarily see the full scope of how this struggle is ultimately or can ultimately serve you. But do your best to consider what if. Remember at the beginning, I said, oh, I love those what if questions. Well, what if? What if this darkness is guiding you to your light? What if this struggle is guiding you to more strengths? What if this struggle is actually preparing you and empowering you to serve the people and the mission and the purpose that you ultimately desire to serve? What if? And remember, you're not necessarily going to know all the answers right now, but at least if you allow yourself to consider, you can start to open your mind and your heart to the possibilities. And thus, and this is what's cool too, is it can actually help reduce your resistance to the struggle you're having. Now, what do I mean by that? When we're in struggle, there can end up being there can be parts of us that are unconsciously struggling against the fact that you're in pain, against the pain, against the struggle. Well, all that ends up doing is when we add more resistance and we push against, we just add more struggle. So we're struggling against the struggle, as opposed to accepting, okay, this is the struggle that I'm in now, and let's just consider the possibilities for it. Let's just consider how it might be serving me. And notice how I went, notice when we breathe, when we accept. That doesn't mean that we say, oh, I love this struggle, it's just wonderful, and let's just keep doing this all day, every day for the rest of our lives. No, that when we can accept that this is the reality right now, that can calm us down, which, as I said earlier, calms down your mind, calms down your emotions, so that you can actually think more clearly. And then we're able to strategize better. Then we're able to make better decisions. Then we're able to see reality more clearly and the possibilities that it has for us. So I hope this has been helpful for you to make this list, and hopefully it'll expand your heart and your mind and your perspective on what it is that you're going through. And know that you will get through this, and you will be stronger and wiser for it. All right, I hope this is helpful. As always, I'm Emily Eldridge. Oh, by the way, you've got to check out my new podcast, Dark Light Truth. You can also go to darklighttruth.com. You'll find the information there, or go to my website and click podcast. I've got new episodes. Oh my gosh, you get to hear people actually going through my work. It's really, really powerful, amazing stuff. So I hope you enjoy it. And as always, I'm Emily with Change Light. And please, please, please do know that your light matters, that you are here to light up our world, and we're all here to light up the world. So let's do our inner work for greater good so we can do that together. Mwah! Take care, and I will see you next week.